A couple of students wrote with some good questions and a wonderful comment from one student in the annotations talked about her eyes getting crossed from staring at the screen and reading so much, which made me laugh and made me think of this brilliant painting by the famous French painter Gustave Courbet called The Desperate Man. And, he's staring at his hair and his eyes are popping out of his head, which I thought was kind of an amusing image for when you feel like you're overwhelmed in your class. What do you do? That's sort of the theme of this little video talk. So one of the things you do is you work with the course modules. So here's my dashboard, some published courses. You enter the course from your dashboard. This is the doorway into the course. Once you're in the course, you need another doorway. It's the doorway to your modules. Whatever course of mine you're taking, whether it's History of Medieval to Renaissance art, History of Asian art, Baroque to modern art, any other course, this link modules is one of your most important doorways. You move through the course module by module, from A to B, and then there will be C, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. I am very purposeful about how I arrange and sequence each module one after another, and every single page, module page within that module. There's a logic to what comes first, second, and third. That logic is what makes all the information I'm going to be throwing at you add up to a meaningful story, not just a fire hose of information. I don't want you to actually feel like Gustave Courbet as the desperate man. So for this first week, I'm just easing you in with what is a preliminary module. That's why it's module A. It's the course intro. And we have one more preliminary module coming up, which is module B. And it's called the Art of Art History. So the first one, module A, is all about getting you oriented toward the class, knowing what you have to do. The second one is about learning the skills, the concepts, the terminology, the methods that art historians use in order to analyze artworks. These are what you need to know no matter what period of art you are studying, whatever time or place. These apply to all the classes. Once you get through those preliminaries, we'll start to move into specific chapters, you could say, of a historical narrative, where each chapter is going to give you a story of change. And those modules will be really important no matter what class you're in, because they'll be like a timeline moving you through time. So if you're in Asian art history, you're going to be starting in geographically one place and then moving through time in that place across hundreds to thousands of years. In my medieval to Renaissance class, the geography and the chronology are different because the story is different. It's the story of when the Roman Empire falls and the European culture transforms slowly into a Christian culture and how art changes. So here it's a different time period. It's starting from around 100 CE, going up to 1000 and beyond. But the principle is the same in terms of modules. You need to pay attention to how I've chosen to break things down. So you have to go in sequence. Don't make the mistake of passively waiting for Canvas to tell you, oh, there's an assignment. Okay, I'll just jump in and do that assignment. You'll never understand how the story of change fits together if you do that. You'll be confused. It will never become something that you're actually absorbed in. That's why I've made it part of the Canvas setting that you have to actually complete all items in a module to get to the next one, because I really want you to get in the practice of looking at each module as a chapter in an unfolding story and looking at the logic of how it's arranged. So look at the fact that I give you headings. You'll see that there are headings that are larger font. Let's go back. You can see it back here in your orientation. The syllabus, I made a heading for that. so that you could understand, well, here's part 1 and part 2. I made a heading for tips and tools for success. Your first heading will always be your plan of action, okay, which is about what are your learning objectives? What do you need to learn how to know and do? And then what are the tasks that you are going to do to get that knowledge clear in your brain? Those tasks are always laid out in a numbered sequence to tell you, hey, go step by step. That's what the logic of the module is all about. I do my very best to establish a pattern, so you'll always see a plan of action. You'll always see objectives and tasks. I want you to have a pattern, a routine that you can rely on so you have some familiarity of how everything's set up as you move from chapter to chapter of the story. And a student who's working through this module wrote to me and said, okay, I'm getting lost a little bit because I'll click on, let's say this is the page. I'm reading through it. I'm following. I'm doing the video. And then I come to the bottom. Let's say I click next. So I'm going to the next page. I'm taking this all in, and now I'm going to stop and I'm going to make myself a cup of coffee or make a sandwich. And then I come back and oops, I'm a little lost. Where am I in this module? She wanted to know if Canvas provided some kind of page numbers or something to help. I wish it did. Sadly, it does not. But I can show you what I would do just based on my own learning, trial and error, how to make this fire hose of information that is the digital age manageable. I would actually help myself with the tabs here in my Chrome browser. Let me show you what I mean. So I can jump from this page home, right? And I can jump from home to modules. What I would do to make it easier is I'd come up here on the tab. In Chrome and other browsers, you can right click and look, I can say duplicate tab. Ooh, isn't that cool? Boy, did I love figuring this one out. So now I have 2 identical tabs. They're both giving me the class at its module page. But now what I can do is I can go back to this tab, the first one, right? Remember, these are duplicates. And I'm going to say, okay, I want that one. Well, I want that one to actually get in closer. I want that one to be this page. I'm going to use that one to go page by page through my module. Okay? Is this making sense? I hope this is making sense. So I'm going to go page by page here. Oh, I don't think you can see that. Okay, let me make this bigger. Hold on. Backing up a moment, I've got 2 identical tabs in Chrome. One of them I'll keep at modules, so it gives me that list, that beautiful list of sequence. The other one I will use to get closer into specific pages. And as I read, I will be scrolling down the page. I will be clicking next. So I can go to the next page. I can read everything my professor has written for me. I can watch the video and I can comment on it. I can scroll down and I'm still clicking next. But if I feel like I've lost my place, like where am I can go right back to this tab. Oh yeah, let me look again. Okay, I'm in this part where she's saying visual and sensory experience is 1/2 of art history. And she's telling me that that idea means I need to learn how to look. I need to learn the power of close observation. I need to learn about formal analysis. And then I'll be coming to a new idea, which is here in a new heading, historical context. So the reason that I labor over these modules and I think so much about, well, what will the heading be? How will I divide it into headings and sequence it? Is because I wanted to have a logic for you. This is like an outline for you of all of the information. And I want you to be able to start to recognize that and get familiar with how I'm laying these modules out. As the story of art keeps changing, you'll still have a set pattern of how I'm organizing things.